Hey everyone, Animeikers here. So I wanted to give my thoughts on KYOKUTO Necromance by Fusai Naba. So this one stood out to me. It just came out very recently. First chapter is called Spiritual. And yeah, the art immediately grabbed me. It had this kind of mysterious vibe to it, so I wanted to check it out. Though there has been a lot of exorcism type of manga that have come out of Shonen Jump anyway. But this one grabbed me, and I started checking out the the way the panels were made, and I thought it was set out pretty well. One of the things I liked about this first chapter, well, let me first give a quick summary. So essentially, we have this main character, Kaoru, can't even say his name, Kaoru Uno, and he has his grandmother, and essentially he's been living with his grandmother. His father, well, his mum's gone, and then his dad died, and he left him a ring. Essentially, his mother collapses, and then his grandmother collapses, and when she collapses, he sees like these little spirits, and that's essentially when the story kind of kicks into gear. Thankfully, like nothing really happened to the grandmother, but then he meets this other character, Yoji Amane, and he's like this celebrity. He went viral for some video, and essentially, well, it's revealed later that he's there because he promised his the main character's dad that he would take care of the main character, and he's already been notified about this ring that his dad left him. Now, very quickly, he shows him that these spirits and stuff exist, and that there's paranormal activity, and they're called Shiryo. These Shiryo, they kind of lurk around when like death is near, or this is like a specific type of Shiryo where it's about death. Now, essentially, like this huge like beast, like all these little Shiryo come together and forms like this beast, and a battle starts, and he punches the main character in the face, but then through some grit and determination, he punches the spirit with the ring, like with this fist that has the ring on it. And what that does is it actually like blows the monster spirit's head open, and then we see kind of like this stand like character appear. So he has like one of those, and that seems to be like an ability that's been passed down to him in a certain way. Now, he's still pretty bad at it because he just started, but he looks pretty sick. And then that character from before that I was talking about, the one that's famous, and he's been talking with, he also shows his powers, and he has like this fairy like character, and it turns into like a blade, and he cuts the spirit down, and that's basically the end of it. And essentially the main character just says that he wants to join the agency that this person is a part of, because he also worked with his dad. So, and he gets his resolve back based on the fact that he wants to protect his grandmother. So that's the story, and it's nothing too original or anything like that from a story perspective. But the thing that I did like was the way the paneling was done. So the paneling and the pacing specifically. So I thought the pacing was like super fast. It would jump to things like really quickly, but to me it didn't feel abrupt. Maybe for others it did, but for myself it didn't feel abrupt at all. It felt like it moved at a good pace. It is a fast pace, but it still felt like it was moving at the pace that worked for the story. And because of it, there was this feeling of like mystery kind of all throughout the chapter. The characters had alright banter. I don't think the characters really stand out all that much as of yet, I would say. So the two things that hooked me was more like the art, specifically like the paneling. It does have some good paneling here and there. There's a lot of good perspective drawings. Like he does try to be, or he or she, I'm not sure if the author, what the gender of the author is, but they do try to make creative. I feel like he tries to be creative, like with the way he does panels, with the way he does like the perspective shots, the close-ups with the faces. There's a lot of intention behind the way the mangaka actually puts things together. Even in like action scenes, like there's this shot where like you get to see like the back of like the spirit, and it looks pretty awesome. Like it's from like a high angle shot, and you get to see like all the way down to like the railing. This is the double spread where it gets cut up, and even that's kind of unique as well, just the way it's done, like the way the spirit gets cut up, and then you have like this one whole page where it feels like the parts of the spirit are like in your face because it's kind of blurry. So yeah, he does a lot of like creative like panel work that I thought was really good, and that's the thing that kind of drew me in. I also like I like the flashbacks. I like flashbacks are done because it kind of just jumps back and forth between past and present pretty seamlessly, which is good. Like sometimes I see like certain series and they feel like they really have to like build to like a moment where they have to showcase any form of backstory. But in this one, it kind of just jumps back and forth in a certain way when it's required in the story. So I thought that was good as well, and a lot of like the past moments feel like they feel important. They feel like they add context to the story. So far, I thought it was good in like execution. I don't think it's original, but I mean, I think our brains are kind of primed to make associations between things that are already out there, and we're primed to always compare things. So I don't think the first chapter is really ever a good indication of originality because we're just gonna reference and reference and reference in our minds. So what I'm going to focus on is the execution, and I think the execution was decent. I think there's potential. I think there is a clear intention to go into certain like character moments. The action's really fast paced. Like it doesn't actually go into that much action, like which is something I like. Like I like it when the action is justified. I don't want the first chapter to have like a 10-page fight. You know, like the action is very concise. It's done in a way where the fighting was just for the purpose of the story, and I really like that for the first chapter. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this first chapter. I thought it was good. I'm gonna read it weekly. Hopefully it doesn't get canned. So yeah, those are my thoughts. All right, thank you for listening.